always told me someday I'd be good at something. Who'd have guessed that something be zombie killing?
Probably nobody.
Hey folks, Adam here. Quick open tag. I'd like some response. Comments are good. Videos are even better. Even if it's a quick little shorty, because this isn't going to be very long. I had watched a video. My good buddy Mitch kind of introduced me to the 13th Wolfman channel, and he does a lot, horror movie things. And he had done an open tag, 3 worst horror movie series of all time, and I got to thinking I'm not as much of a horror movie buff as I am a zombie movie buff. You name me a zombie movie and I've probably seen it. But as far as like just all around horror movie buff, I know the biggies, but I've never watched miniseries all the way through, so I can't really comment. But I got to thinking, and I there was a couple that came to mind for me that just kind of fell off after the first one or two. But that isn't what this tag's about. But I'll go ahead and throw them out there. I thought the Child's Play series, the Chucky doll thing, I thought those went to shit like after the second movie, maybe the third movie. But when they even changed the name from like Child's Play to Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, and it all became all about I don't know. I remember the first one gave me the creeps and really scared me and stuff, but it just got kind of stupid after a while for me. So that was one. I couldn't think of three. For me, the Saw series too kind of lost its luster maybe after the first one. The second one was all right in my opinion, but after that, I just kind of lost interest. But I really couldn't think of three, and I'm not a good judge of horror movie series anyway. I mean, like I said, I've seen, like, if you ask me what my favorite horror movie is, it's probably Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I mean, out of the Nightmares on Elm Street series, I would probably say 1 and 2 and Wes Craven's New Nightmare were probably the three that are my favorites, and then the rest of them, I don't really care. That kind of put them all on the same level, But even though Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I think, was the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie I saw, and I've seen Halloween 1 and 2, and I think I saw Halloween H2O. I've seen, Friday the 13th, the first one. You guys will probably kill me, but I've never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you horror movie fans. I don't know. I just, like I said, I guess I'm more of a zombie movie guy than a horror movie guy, but that doesn't mean I don't know a little bit about a lot. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I can kind of bullshit my way through most anything. So I guess I kind of did a response to a response in my own open tag video. Imagine that. Anyway, my open tag is what's the earliest movie you remember giving you nightmares? That's my open tag. I can think of two, and I had to have been in like the 4, 5, or 6-year-old range. That gave me nightmares. I wasn't raised in a sheltered environment. I mean, we got to see a lot of stuff probably, before you should have saw it, looking back on it, in my opinion. But my mom, I think I saw Aliens when I was like 8, But, I mean, it's like, I remember 2 movies for sure, aside from the first time I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 3. After that, Freddy Krueger, that gave me nightmares for a couple days in a row until it finally shook it off. And I mean, you know, I don't know. It just that's one of those characters that kind of stuck with you because supposedly he could get to you while you were sleeping. So it's just one of those things. But that's off track. Off track again. Sorry, sorry, sorry. My own goddamn open tag video. The earliest two movies I remember giving me nightmares. Um, well, one of them is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it's that scene at the end when everybody kind of melts and their whole face melts off and everything. And I remember going and seeing it with my sister, who's a year or so younger than me, and a couple of people, kind of in like you know, one of those like church outing kind of things, you know, where you go. I was down at my dad's, and we went with my stepmom and like a church group. It's where we went and saw Indiana Jones, but you know, at the end when they all melt, you know, they tried to cover my eyes and my sister's eyes. I guess my sister got her eyes covered pretty good, but I saw the guys melt at the end of the movie, and that gave me nightmares. I'm guessing 6. I don't know when it came out. Did it come out in 81, 82? I would have been like 6 or 7. And this is the earliest one I remember that gave me nightmares. And it's kind of a stupid movie for giving somebody nightmares, but it's Superman 3. And what it is at the end of that movie, Superman's fighting this big supercomputer, and he's flying there and stuff, and the bad guys are there, and they're kind of controlling the supercomputer. And the supercomputer kind of comes to life, you know, and they all make a run for it, and one of the women gets grabbed by the computer and gets sucked back in, and gets like turned into like a cyborg or a robot or something. But for some reason, that and the woman. The woman when she's fighting with Superman as this metal cyborg. Even at the end of the movie, she totally changes back into a normal person and doesn't die or get hurt or anything. I mean, she goes back to normal, and then they all go to jail. I do a lot of air quotes. But it gave me nightmares. I probably had to have been like 5, in like 1980 or something. I know Superman 1 came out in like, what, 75, 76? So I'd say Superman 3 was around 80, 81. So I had to have been like 5 or 6. And I remember that giving me nightmares when I was a kid. Those two movies. And, you know, I mean, I saw other movies. I saw Ghostbusters and Gremlins and, you know, movies that were a little bit kind of maybe advanced for a kid my age. You know, but back then it was PG or R. I mean, that was it. So, and if my parents wanted to go see an R movie, we all went to the drive-in and saw the R movie. You know, I mean, that was just the way it was. But I want some responses. Let me know what's the earliest movie you remember giving you a nightmare as a child? And if you have one or two, that's cool. I'd appreciate some video responses, even if they're like 2 or 3 minutes long. But if you just want to throw it in the comments, that's cool. I'm going to sign off. I guess I kind of did a response and an open tag at the same time. Thanks, 13th Wolfman, for kind of getting my brain floating a certain direction and then causing me to go off on a totally different tangent, which is something I normally do. I float from one thing to the next, and it never makes sense. So you never know what the hell's going to come out of my mouth. So I'm going to sign off so we can keep this one under 10 minutes. That'll be sweet, won't it?
I'm not great at farewell, so that'll do, pig.
That's the worst goodbye I've ever heard. And you stole it from a movie.